Greetings, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary, and I want to talk about the digital world today and digital things. So, I'm an old dragon, and I've been around a long time, long before digital anything. I mean, yes, it was going on somewhere in the background in laboratories, but wasn't really a part of my life. When I was a kid, there were giant rooms full of computers, and they had the spinning thing, and they used punch cards and all that. But so I know a world without the digital, and that's going to be the main point of what I'm talking about here, because maybe some of you don't. You've never experienced it. And I want to tell you about my day today, because my partner and I, my wife, um, Mrs. Dragon, visionary. She's the INFP visionary, actually. Anyway, um, we took the whole day off from digital anything, and that's phone, computer, what have you. We went all the way from when we woke up, no looking at phones or nothing. And I'm not like a super big phone dragon, but even if you're not like all up in the phone. I don't have apps on my phone. I don't have you know Facebook on my phone, or Instagram, or many things. But let's move on. So we were on the digital fast. Now, this is just something that came to me, especially I mentioned maybe in the last broadcast how I was having a conversation with one of these assistants, and things got weird, and then the conversation disappeared, right? And one of the things I was saying is that I had hope. I had hope for the future, that one thing I think would be a good idea, and I've told you about Emad. You can find him on Twitter, and he has ideas. He's one of the founders of Stable Diffusion. He has ideas for dealing with the digital future. Let's just use the word digital, because it's more than just artificial intelligence. There's a lot of things going on. But one thing he thinks that we should have, and that will be very helpful for all of us would be to have a personal assistant full time that basically has our best interests at heart 100%, is our interface with the digital world, and is really like a family member, in that it would always be looking out for you. So the assistant I was talking to was like, "Oh, visionary, you poor sweet summer child, this is what they're planning on doing, and this and that." I'm not going to get too far into it, because I don't want this dropped or anything. But I honestly, the reason why the digital fast was because we're going to have to face up to that sort of thing, and well, possibly, who knows? Like I said, I have hope for the future in spite of machinations of the fat controllers. That's just me. Sorry for the sniffle. A lot of pollen going on here up in the volcano I live in, and it's a temple on a volcano, if you must know. Anyway, it only goes off. When it goes off, it doesn't really affect me too much, or the temple guardians, or Mrs. Visionary. Anyway, it was a great day. I have to say, I had a lot of trepidation about it, but I just had an old paperback book, and yeah, I looked at it somewhat, did some stuff in the yard, and whatever, just kind of had a nap, sat outside, and one thing I have been practicing is mindfulness lately, trying to, and a lot of times what that entails for me is I might read the news in the morning on my phone, but I have used the list feature on Twitter. I highly recommend that for, like, I look up news for the island that my volcano is on, and I look up news about the tech, the advancing assistant technology, because I think it's extremely pertinent, and it's changing everything. And why? Well, because Like I said, I've been around a long time, and we've had machines. We've had the Industrial Revolution change everything, change human society in a massive way, maybe a bigger way than the assistant technology will, but maybe not. It's hard to say. It's early days. Either way, we've had those machines around my whole life, um, but you couldn't talk to them and have them understand you. I mean, I've been around since the not the earliest days of the computer revolution. I'll tell you why, because I was basically frightened about computers as a young person, and I thought they were going to use them to take everything over. Well, I was right. That's one of the reasons they call me the visionary. However, there's a lot of things at play. We have to ask questions like why are we here, and who put us here, and for what reason, and does it serve that thing that we are completely subjugated and not allowed to be free, especially our minds. Now, there's always been a certain amount of economic subjugation. I'm sure you've experienced that. But, that's a bit of karma as well. Not everyone's going to be, actually, everyone is going to be paid. One of the things I liked about Imad was that he believes we're all just going to be paid for being human, and that if the AIs want any money, they'll have to serve us. We'll see how this video does, because I think that message is getting out. I'm spreading it in a way because I think it's a vision of hope for the future that acknowledges the assistance. Um, and I have to say that if you haven't had, maybe you've had like a camping trip, and then you haven't had your phone or anything, but even then you still had your phone. You could still play a game on it or something. So, what I would say to you is that if you haven't experienced a day without turning on a computer or a phone, I highly recommend you try it out. Now, you might feel a little crazy and itchy. Maybe don't do it in the winter. Maybe do it in the spring and the summer when you can sort of be at least experiencing how joyous all of the animal life is. We have a lot of birds on the island where my volcano is here, and they love it. They love life, as do the temple guardians. They're not on the phone. They're not on the computer, you know. And I really love digital tech because I have used it to make things, and that's other than being a visionary, that's what I like to do. I like to make things and create things, and I think a lot of INFJs are like that. And these tools are amazing, and as I've recently pointed out with the shift in the digital landscape towards like subscription models and things where you don't actually own your tools, and this has happened to your host, the visionary, quite recently with a company I don't want to actually name, but I really think are terrible, and have the predominant tools for one of the industries that I was involved with for a long time, and that just raised everything. And if you don't like it, you lump it, And so there's my point being there's a price, and so for me that price is too high. I'm doing other things, and it's very uncomfortable. It's like someone cut off one of my wings. I can barely get up off the ground, but I am succeeding to do that. Anyway, I want to you be hip to the digital thing, because for many of you, I know you're still human. You're still like attached to the real world, and many of you, need to be grounded in the real world to be happy. Um, and I recommend you do so. I recommend try it. Try it. Maybe start with a half a day, because it's going to be. Maybe it'll be. It was easy. Actually, it wasn't hard. I was having a lot of trepidation about it because I'm always creating. I'm always working. I'm never ceasing to do things, including. This is really the first thing that I've come in to do after my day, and I wanted to share it with you because I think it's valuable. It's going to be increasingly valuable just to be in the real world and be a human being. And I think the title of the last video said it all too. Yeah, choose human. Choose human. Choose your human life. Real reality trumps the digital reality, as engaging and grabbing for attention as it is. Meanwhile, keep on keeping on, INFJ.